when you're standing in front of the classroom, you can kind of get that feeling of, are they understanding what I'm saying? But in the distance learning, you have no idea where the student is in terms of their learning. You don't have that eye contact. You can't see them sleeping. You can't see them, am I really getting to them? That's missing, and I find that missing in the distance part. And so I try and make up for that in visualizations, animations, try and keep them involved in the content if I can. So face-to-face, I can ask the student a direct question if I get the feeling they're not involved in the class, or maybe they're not understanding the content, or if I feel like they're not engaged, I can try and engage them, and I find that very difficult to do in the online setting, specifically because my class runs asynchronously, so I never am certain when somebody's going to be online, and I don't have certain office hours that they have to attend, so to engage a student I would have to email them directly, or find a different manner, and I find that difficult to deal with. The second challenge I have with online teaching is knowing how much information to give the students, and every year I build the syllabus even larger. Not just information about what needs to be in an assignment or in your discussion board, but how I'm going to evaluate those. Because I think when you see the students every day, they get an idea of what you're like in terms of evaluation or expectations, but on the online environment I find it's a little more challenging for the students to get a feeling for where you're at, and I think you have to be really clear up front about what you will be providing and what your expectations are going to be and outcomes.
I really find that disconnect between myself and the students as being very problematic. I say I definitely enjoy in class more than I enjoy online. Again, it's because I don't really know my students at all. I don't see them, I don't chat with them. There's no banter that's taking place, and although you can do that by text, it's not the same as talking to someone. So I find that's a little bit of a challenge. Is I just don't have a personal connection to those students. And not that I have a personal connection to all my students, but certainly I'd have some connection with some of the students. And you see them in the hallway, you see them in other classes. With the online stuff, you're not really seeing them. Most of our students are outside of Saskatchewan. So unless they come for convocation, we never actually physically meet them. And I've tried to put some video into my classes just so that they actually know what I look like and what my voice sounds like. Because your voice in text is going to be different from your voice, your real voice. Especially academics, because we'll write a particular way, but we'll speak a slightly different way. And so that, again, I think for the students, that's a disconnect.
My biggest challenge in teaching online has been to manage my time and the workload. It's one of those things where if the online course is successful, and by that I would measure success, one of the measurements of success would be a dynamic and engaged student discussion space, for example. The sheer volume of discussion generated can be quite a challenge to keep up to, both for the students and for myself. So I will often teach 2 or 3 online courses in a semester, so managing the online environment, making sure I'm doing due diligence in terms of support to students, answering questions, facilitating discussion, orchestrating the assignment schedules, and all those kinds of things are a demand. But they're a demand for busy instructors on campus in the face-to-face setting as well. But I just need to add that if one is thinking that teaching online will lighten your load, that is a myth. It won't lighten it. It can make it spread out over time. You can access the course at 24/7, and so in that sense, your time management and course management schedule is spread out, and in that sense it's a little more manageable.
My biggest challenge teaching online is losing the relationship piece when you're teaching face-to-face. I rely on that a lot. I love teaching. I love it. It's one of the favorite parts of my job, and I enjoy it because there are immediate rewards and long-term rewards, and that immediate reward piece is gone almost when you're teaching online. You don't really know if the students get it. You don't really know if they're there unless you're teaching synchronously. So I think that that's a great challenge.
I think the hard part for me is developing a sense of place. Now, I mean, a classroom has such a, a traditional classroom has such a powerful experiential hold on people, right? They're used to walking through that door. They're used to sitting down, managing the space in front of them with their notebooks or whatever, and they feel really comfortable in that. They know that it's timed, and at the end you can almost hear the people starting to rustle around. Well, that's your cue as an instructor for you to start wrapping things up, and the minute you give them an audible cue that you are wrapping up, whap, 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 you start hearing the books and the folders go, right? So that sense of place has a tradition, it has a feel, it has that. Everything just kind of works. And it has a lot of assumptions attached to it that you don't even question, because we've all been in those environments for so very long. Online, when you're giving a lecture that's video recorded and put up, you're not talking to an audience, okay? So you're talking to maybe a person operating a camera, maybe somebody who's kind enough to sit next to the camera and interview you, like you are. But most of the time, you're talking to an audience you don't see, and you aren't getting any feedback from them. That's tough. That's tough. Because it's not just that it might throw you off a few times as you're doing that, but it's also that you can't judge how it's being received. So, and that's all about creating that learning environment, that feel, that transactional space that we look for, and that sense of when you really got them, or when they really got